Hi YouTube and welcome back to my Random Thoughts on Thursdays. This week I'm doing a Q&A video. Alright, so this week I went out on the internet and asked folks to basically ask me some questions that they were curious about me. And I got a few responses and I'm going to go ahead and answer those questions. So, diving right in. First question from someone named True Story Christine Denmark. The first question is, how long have you been on YouTube? So I started my channel in October of 2011. So about 1.5 years, a little give or take, but basically since October of 2011. Question 2 comes from Fibula. What made you start YouTubing and what makes you carry on? So what made me start one YouTube is a combination of being inspired by other YouTubers I followed. Luke Honard was one of them, Joey Graceffa was one of them, Shane Dawson of course, and a number of others who were all vlogging off and on, Phil DeFranco as well, Ray William Johnson, etc. And so a lot of that was kind of inspiration for me to start vlogging, but the big impetus that made me want to start vlogging was the fact that I was having my impending 40th birthday. And the year before, a friend of mine who was turning 40 kind of did this kind of countdown to his birthday on Facebook where he recounted different memories of his life, counting down towards his birthday. And I thought, well, why don't I do that on YouTube instead? So that's what kind of started. So before starting my birthday countdown videos, I wanted to practice a little bit, so I started by doing some tag videos and a couple of little things like that. I think I did a couple of video responses to some YouTubers I followed as well. But I think I did 2 or 3 of those, and then I went into my birthday countdown, so it was about 40 videos in total, starting with just kind of like an intro video. So basically counting down from my 39th birthday, since I didn't have a memory of my 40th birthday yet. And then my memory of my 39th year, my 38th year, my 37th year, all the way back to my first year. Obviously, the first few years of my life, a lot of those memories are filled in from what I was told from my relatives. But for the most part, I had some memory of something either that I remembered myself or was told to me from every year of my life, which was kind of cool that I actually spent a lot of time sitting down and thinking about, okay, well, what do I remember from when I was 16? What do I remember from when I was 25, etc.? And I actually remembered quite a lot, and then there were a couple of years where I didn't quite remember, but then just kind of piecing things together from, like, okay, I remember what I was doing when I was 16, I remember what I was doing when I was 18, oh, okay, I probably was doing this when I was 17, that kind of thing. So that's basically what got me started with YouTube, was just kind of doing that kind of video series. And then I just had so much fun with it that I thought, well, you know, why don't I keep vlogging? And initially my vlogs were kind of random and just kind of whenever I felt like putting something up. But I realized quickly that if I wanted to have a more successful channel and get more subscribers and that kind of thing, that I really should do things on a more regular schedule. So I started my Random Thoughts on Thursday vlogs, where I posted a video every Thursday, trying to be relatively consistent with, you know, the caveat of when things got too busy in my life that I wouldn't always put up a video, but I try to put up a new vlog every Thursday. And then about halfway through doing that, I talked about being a gamer and talked about being into gaming and things. I had a number of really positive responses, a lot of private messages and things like, oh, you're into games, you're a girl and you're female and you're into games, and what kind of games do you play, that kind of thing. Would you maybe put up some footage of the games you play? That, and so that's what led me to start putting up the gaming videos I do. And I have actually a lot of fun putting up the gaming videos because first of all, it's a lot of fun to play them, but then it's actually a lot of fun to edit and put over the voiceovers and that kind of thing. So that kind of led me into that part of my YouTube career. So anyway, that's what kind of keeps me going, is just, it's a lot of fun. Alright, so Thrashbat asks, what's your username mean? So that's a good question. So my username is Kleine Gans, is the proper pronunciation. It's a bit of a misspelling. Kleine means little in German and Dutch, and Gans, if you spell it correctly, which would be G-A-N-S, would mean goose, or basically Kleine Gans would mean little goose. Now, admittedly, I spelled Gans incorrectly with a Z at the end. Long story short, when I first tried to register Kleine Gans as a username, I don't remember what website it was on or anything, but it was already used. And so I thought, well, you know, if I change the S to a Z, it's incorrect and it changes the meaning a bit. But I kind of liked the way it looked, so I kind of went with it, and I've kind of stuck with that persona ever since. That was like, I don't know, 10 years ago. It's been a while since I've been using that particular persona. But the history behind that is that, you know, I was born and raised in Chicago, but my mom was born in Frankfurt in Germany, and my dad was also born in Europe in Poland. And so I'm a first-generation American, and my relatives in Germany always referred to me as die kleine Gänschen von Michigansee, which translates as the little goose from Lake Michigan. And so from that, I kind of derived Kleine Gans, and, you know, there's the whole story of the misspelling and all of that stuff. So it is incorrectly spelled for little goose. The correct meaning behind the way I've spelled it is a little piece of the whole, Gans meaning the whole of something, or the complete of something, that kind of thing. So it's kind of a double meaning. It doesn't quite translate properly, but it kind of suits me because I'm a little piece of a whole or a bigger puzzle, that kind of thing, and the whole Kleine Gans with the little goose from my family. So that's basically where the name comes from. It's kind of a convoluted story, but that's where Kleine Gans comes from. Alright, now Blueberry asks, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, since I am self-employed and I run my own business, I would very much like to see my business grow to a point where I don't necessarily have to be involved with the day-to-day operations as much as I am right now. I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy the job I do. I enjoy interacting with my subcontractors and that kind of thing. But I would very much like to be able to have a lot of the work go to my subcontractors, less work go to myself, and have a sustainable model doing that kind of thing and having a lot of work coming in, so much so that where I'm doing, I don't know, I'd say about 20 hours a week of work, and then the rest of it going to subcontractors and being relatively steady work coming in. And perhaps the majority of my work is actually just trying to bring in new business and less about me actually doing the work itself. So that's where I would like to see myself in 5 years. If you're asking about me and YouTube, honestly, I don't know. I mean, YouTube is a hobby. I really enjoy it. I really like where I'm going with my channels. I like to see the growth that I'm seeing. Whether or not I can see myself actually earning an actual income from YouTube, I honestly don't know. I don't think I'm interesting enough, but it really depends on my fans and how far you guys take me, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's you guys who will take me as far as you will, depending on how interesting you find me. So that's where it is. And the final question coming from someone named Venjo, V-E-N-J-O, so hopefully I'm saying that right. It could be Venho as well. I'm not sure how you want to pronounce that. Your question was, who's your favorite author and what's your favorite piece of work from them? I would say number one, my favorite author is Carl Sagan. I absolutely love his work. I loved the movie Contact that was based on a book that he wrote. But my absolute favorite book of his of all time is Cosmos. I absolutely adore that book to no end. I've read it through about 2 or 3 times now, and I actually own 2 copies so that if I ever have a friend of mine who wants to borrow a copy, I always have a spare copy to lend out because I always want to have my own copy around. So absolutely top author is Carl Sagan. And yes, I'm a geek. I love science, I love science fiction, fantasy, etc. And I have a number of other favorite authors, but number one absolute favorite author is always going to be Carl Sagan. thanks so much for all the questions, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoy my content at all, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.